What's going on, guys? Welcome back to BlackTideTV, second video of the day. If you missed the first video of the day, it will be linked in the description and the card in the top right corner. In this video, you're going to be seeing some free-for-all on Crash, and we're going to be talking about Modern Warfare Remastered possibly getting supply drops or DLC weapons in the future. I know you've probably seen a dozen videos like this in your sub box today. Everybody and his brother in the Call of Duty community is talking about this. But what you have to understand is there are people that come exclusively to this channel for their Call of Duty info, and it always makes sense to get a second opinion or a third or fourth or fifth opinion. This is still all theorizing, it's still all up in the air, there's nothing concrete about this information yet, and I think Activision and Raven Software are receiving as much feedback as they can, and of course you guys that are spreading the news, receiving as much feedback as you can, getting the correct news, is very beneficial to the game. So it makes sense for me to talk about this today. Let's get into it. So what's going on? Why is everyone freaking out about DLC weapons coming into Modern Warfare Remastered? They wouldn't put DLC weapons into a remaster. They have to leave it the way the game was originally, right? Not exactly. This is Activision we're talking about, and Activision will do anything to get a little bit more money out of their product. They don't care about their fans. They don't care about fan service. As long as Activision can make money, they're going to continue to push supply drops. They're going to continue to push CoD points and push DLC into their games, even if those games are remastered titles of previous Call of Duty games, like the one we have here. So they could possibly add weapons, they could possibly add supply drops. I think supply drops are a lot more likely to come. I don't think weapons are as likely just because they will change the overall tone of the game, whereas supply drops, they can add supply drops with calling cards or emblems, or they could add animations or something like that. You know how you inspect your gun, maybe a new inspect animation with each of your different guns. They could probably add camos and stuff like that, but changing the game by adding weapons is something entirely different, which is why people are freaking out, because the instant that anybody saw this crazy code that came out, they immediately assumed these weapons are going to drop into the game. I think that the weapons are just, they're too easy, and I don't think that they're going to be joining the game anytime soon. They're hesitant enough to change the code of the original game, to change the weapons that are already overpowered, and to make changes to the things that are in this game, because it will change it from the original COD 4 property. I hardly think that they're going to add completely new items to the game when they haven't even fixed the items that are in the game already. So I think we can all calm down about them adding weapons, but just for argument's sake, let's explain what happened. So the PC version of Modern Warfare Remastered has been broken down. Someone was going through the code, ever the culprit for a Call of Duty leak, and they have found that there is a bunch of weapons slated to be going into this game. There are some weapons from other Call of Duty games, like the PP2000, I believe was mentioned, from Modern Warfare 2. There's also some new weapons. I believe there was a shotgun, a fully automatic shotgun called the Kamchatka or something like that. So basically what's going on is someone found these weapons in the code. There's a big list of weapons in the code, including a melee weapon. The Ace of Spades from Black Ops 3, I guess, was in the code as well. And what my belief is that these are just parts of the code that got brought over from other Call of Duty games. If you didn't know that, Call of Duty developers usually grab big chunks of code from other Call of Duty games before making theirs, because they don't want to do everything from scratch. They're just going to cut and paste a little bit from each different Call of Duty game, and then they're going to fine-tune it to their own specs. So I do believe that some of these bits of code, some of these weapons may have got brought over from other games, and they're just sitting in the back end of the code, not really doing much, and people are just freaking out a little bit too much, because honestly, the weapons that they have slated to be added to this game are very strange indeed. We've got a Ace of Spades or a shovel melee weapon, which I think is ridiculous, because you can't actually just run around with a knife in this game to begin with. So how they would make it so that you can run around with a shovel, like, it would make sense if they had weapon or melee weapon skins or something like that, so like when you actually swing the knife, instead of swinging a knife, you swing a shovel or something instead. So maybe they could do that, but from the images that we saw, the video that this guy put out, this guy that was searching through the code, it actually looks like you can hold the melee weapon, you can hold the shovel, and you can inspect it and everything, and that just doesn't make sense. It seems like something straight out of Black Ops 3 code, and they just kind of brought it over. Maybe they tinkered with it a little bit, or maybe they were using the code somewhere else and they just left that in there. That's my thought of it anyways. So there's these new weapons that are being put into the game, and people are freaking out. They think that just because these weapons are in the code, they may be added to the game. Yes, they may be, but I really find it hard to believe. Like I said, they're afraid to even tweak the code of the actual weapons that are in the game, the weapons that have always been in the game. They're scared to change them because the audience is going to freak out. The audience is already ripping them a new one for this supposed leak. So I really find it hard to believe that they're going to start putting in new weapons and stuff. Supply drops is an entirely different story. I can 100% believe that they're going to put supply drops in, because you can do any kind of crazy thing with supply drops. Like I said, camos, inspection taunts, or whatever the hell that you want to call them. You can do calling cards, emblems. People can spend their money on aesthetic items like that, and it would be fine. I wouldn't care if there was supply drops like that, but as long as there's no new weapons being added to this game, as long as they're not adjusting any of the weapons, we all need to calm down. It's not that big of a deal. It's okay. Now, the biggest piece of evidence that people are pointing towards for why this might actually be true, why weapons might be being added to Modern Warfare Remastered, is that the original post, I think it was a Reddit post, where this guy pointed out all of these items and whatever in the game, this guy that broke into the code. The original Reddit post had a couple of videos on it showing the shotgun, showing the other weapons and things like that. And, well, it got taken down by Activision. And usually Activision doesn't pay much mind to fake things or things that aren't that big of a deal. Usually, like, don't get me wrong, Activision are assholes, but they don't usually take down and strike videos or anything like that unless it's really going to hurt them in the long run. Yes, this might hurt them, but I mean, what most people are saying is that, well, if they struck down these videos that are showing these new weapons, maybe does that mean that they are working on those weapons and they might be getting into the game eventually? I don't know. It is an interesting little piece of evidence. It's an interesting news story, and I'd highly advise that you follow along with your favorite YouTubers and follow along with what's going on with this news story, because let me tell you, if they put weapons into Modern Warfare Remastered, all hell is breaking loose. World War III is coming, let me tell you. So that is it for today's video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys on the next one.